What's up, guys? How you doing? I hope you guys are having an awesome, wonderful day, and welcome back to another episode, and welcome back to our free complete Amazon FBA course that we're giving away in YouTube. So it's going to be 2 episodes every week that will be able to teach you from beginner to advanced about how to create your own brand and how to launch your private label product, which is really intense, and all the same time is very detailed. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. So this episode, you guys who are here, we're going to be talking about all the costs and the budget that needed for you to start this business. It's not unlike other people that make you think. It requires a lot of a budget. You need to pay attention to those. This episode is very important for you to watch, because you're going to learn what kind of budget that you need so you can move forward, and how much cash flow that you need to make sure that your product is really so you can set up your product for success, which is the most important. So we're going to talk about budget expectations and what you need exactly for you to be able to succeed in Amazon FBA. So the budget is really important, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. And please, all we're asking you in return, just subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. If you have any comment or any question, leave it in the comment section. I will get back to you. And also, if you can help us, just spread the word and share that video with other people. It really means a lot to us because we're trying to grow this channel, and please help us to get there as well. So guys, enjoy that episode, and hopefully you get the budget to make it happen. Take care, everybody. All right, guys. So welcome back again to another episode and another section of the course. Today, we're going to be talking about module 2, which is product research is the key. And we're going to cover multiple things in that module. It's going to be really packed with a lot of good information. We're going to talk about budget expectations. We're going to talk about categories and products to avoid. We're going to talk about restricted categories and products. We're going to talk about trademarks and patents. We're going to talk about product research, product validation, and product differentiation. I think this module, I really recommend that you watch it multiple times, because it's going to be really heavy, but it's going to be a lot of good golden nuggets, a lot of good screen sharing, and a lot of good things. So we're going to divide that module into multiple videos just to make it easier for you guys to absorb and to be able to understand. But now we're going to talk about budget and expectations. And I think this subject is very important, because a lot of people miss it, or a lot of people underestimate how much work and how much money you need or budget you need to make that business successful. So when thinking about funding your private label product, it's very important to plan for everything, because when costs arise that you didn't plan for, it shouldn't bring your project to halt. And this is really important, because it's true. A lot of us says, hey, you know what? We hear from a lot of people out there and gurus that say, hey, $500, I made you can start with $500 or start with $1,000 or $2,000, but that's not the true picture. The true picture, there's a lot of things are hidden, and we see that in a lot of Facebook groups. We see that a lot in our business, that a lot of people, they source the product, they ship the product, and then they just sit back because they don't have the money to invest more. And what happens? Most likely they will fail because they didn't plan ahead and they had the right budget in mind. So I want to make sure today we cover what are the expectations and where your money is going to go, and how you plan very well. So this is a comprehensive list of budget needs, but your situation may require something different. But for most of us, I can say 90 to 95%, they're going to have the same kind of expectations for any product that you would launch. So first of all, I recommend that you start with something around $3,000 to $5,000 as a minimum budget, recommended for small, low-cost product with minimum packaging, not including cash flow for your next product or other incidental or overhead. Now, this is important because you need to have at least $3,000 to $5,000 to start that business, because that business, it's a real business, a serious business. You need to invest money in it. If you go ahead and do any brick and mortar business, you're going to find that you need at least $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 to start a business, and that's going to be a lot of money. So in this case, Amazon is very easy to get into because of the budget. It's lower budget than starting a new business. If you want to do it as a hobby, yes, you can do it with a small, but if you really want to take it seriously and want to live off, you need to have a good budget that support you and support your your product, support your customization, differentiate, and a lot of things that we're going to discuss today. So really, I think you need to know 3,000 to 5,000 minimum, and that's not including your cash flow, what you need for reordering and everything else that comes with it. Secondly, you need to keep in mind that differentiation may cost more if you are bundling or if you are customizing. So differentiation, we're going to talk about that later on in the modules, differentiation can come in multiple forms. And if you're going to do differentiation, it could be very simple things by adding a little thing to your product, but that's going to cost money. So you need to factor that in. Or if you're doing customization and changing the whole product, that's going to require more money, more molding, and a lot of extra cost. And that can vary by customization, or building your own mold can cost you from $500 to $20,000 to $30,000. So you need to be very careful with your differentiation, but at the same time, you need to put that in your budget. You need to calculate it. Number 3, packaging. If you're going to do packaging, you need to expect that you're going to spend money on your packaging. If you're going to do anything that really looks giftable, something that's really enticing, something that's really good, looks very good in your main image, packaging, you will spend money, and that can come from 50 cents extra, or it can be $3, $4. And so you need to calculate that and do not overdo it if you don't have the budget for it. And if you do so and you go overhead or you go more in packaging, you need to make sure that it's really, you have the margins to support it. Number 4 is product inserts. And that's what we're talking about. Product insert is basically, it's a small card or a small business card that you put into your packaging that's going to get people to get to know you. They're going to entice them to leave a review, or you're going to do multiple things in product inserts to increase your brand loyalty. At the same time, you'll be able to increase your reviews. We're going to touch on that very much in detail later on, not in these modules, in the next modules, but you will see that product insert, how you make it and why it's important. But you need to keep that in mind for your budget. The other thing, listing optimization service, if you choose to hire a service. Now, listing optimization is the same thing as listing creation. You usually create a listing, and after that you can optimize it for more keywords. But listing creation, it looks very simple, but it really requires a lot of technical knowledge, and also you need to have the creativity in your copyright. So it's going to be the thing that 2 things is going to be, 1, which is going to include the keywords, the technical parts, and then you need the second part, which is the copywriter, which is going to write it in a really good way, readable. Increase the readability of the listing, at the same time make it engaging while including those technical keywords. I highly recommend. When I say I'm very good at keyword research, but I will never write like Nancy. I will never be able to write like someone who knows how to write very well those copies. I highly recommend, if you decide to do that, hire someone to do it. Even if your first language is English, still hire someone. Unless you're really high end, yes, it's good, but I really recommend that you hire someone for it. We have a service for that. It's very cheap, and you guys, first people who join that course, they go on getting discounts for it. So do not chip in, but you need to factor this service or this listing creation in your budget. Let's keep going. Now we're going to talk about samples. So samples, when we get the product, and validated, we need to order samples. Samples, including shipping. Buying individual products may be very expensive than when you purchase a large quantity. Always get samples. So we're always going to recommend, when we get to the point where you need to negotiate with the supplier and you need to make sure that you order a sample, the sample, it could cost very expensive comparing to a larger amount. So if I was going to order, let's say 1 pen, it might cost you $5, where if you order in a larger amount, it could cost you 5 cents. But the factory will charge you a lot. The average sample cost, it can vary from $50 to $200. But usually you're gonna see $50 to $100 is really good starting point for any sample that you have. Even if you were able to source that product from Amazon, from a competitor, it might be cost you $20 or $10,
but it still will cost you 50 to 100 bucks if you get the sample from the supplier. So I always recommend that you order a sample to check the quality of the product, but you need to know that requires money, requires budget to be able to do it. So do not forget about that cost. I think product inspection. Product inspection is very, very crucial. And product inspection, we always do it when the products are ready to be shipped. So how that happens is usually we'll put 30% down to start production. When they finish the production and the units are ready, then you pay the 70%. Before you pay the 70%, we always recommend product inspection. Product inspection, basically, you can hire someone to go ahead and inspect the products for you as an agency, and that can vary from $150 to $250. And we'll touch on that later on in next modules, but you need to keep that in mind that that's one of the costs that's involved in your budget. The other thing, you need to allow for 500 to 1,000 units MOQ to start. MOQ stands for minimum order quantity. So when you're ready to place an order for your product, after you sample it, after you inspect it, you will need to allow at least 500 to 1,000 units. You may find a supplier who will manufacture fewer, but the price will be higher, and they will more than likely charge printing or customization that would be free with larger quantity. So I always recommend you order a higher amount. I'm going to teach you later on the modules how to be able to anticipate or predict how much you need for first order and for reordering as well. But if you decide to do a lower MOQ, you are going to pay more for it, and also you might get a lot of things that you would have get for free when you order a larger quantity, like printing your logo or customize the product a little bit or changing a little bit of color or stuff like that you might get for free with a larger MOQ. That might not happen. So you need to understand, if you really want to take it seriously, you need to order enough units to support you. Make sure you are clear when negotiating shipping methods covered later in the course. It can add a lot to the cost of your product or save you a lot of money. So for shipping methods, you need to understand that depending on the shipping method and the speed, is going to be different costs for it. So we're going to talk about later on about sea shipping. We're going to talk about air shipping. We're going to talk about cargo shipping. We're going to talk about fast boat shipping. We're going to talk about EXW, FOB, DDP. All these methods you need to understand very well because they vary in cost, and that's something you need to put in your budget, and you need to count for it. So we're going to cover that. So keep that in mind. You need to factor in the shipping methods that we'll teach you later on and the cost for each. Method of payments, also that can add a cost and fee. So for example, we're going to teach you about methods of payment, how you pay your supplier, how you pay your shipping company or freight forwarder, what are you going to use, MasterCard, PayPal, you're going to use a wire transfer. Each one of them, they're going to have a different percentage or fee for each kind of method. And we're going to teach you which one is the best, when you use wire transfer, when you use a regular credit card, when you use trade assurance, and all the stuff that we're going to cover later on in the modules. But this is things that you need to factor in, especially if you have a budget and a few $100 here, a few $100 here, if they go into add up. Now, you should have a buffer and enough money to order your next quantity without running out of stock. You want to keep sales velocity so you don't have to rank again. It's not the end of the world if you run out of stock, but you need to have enough cash flow or enough money set aside, or need to order enough units to make sure that you don't run out of stock that often. Most of us, at least let me speak for myself, when I order my first order, I always try to order minimum 500 to 1,000, but that will change depending on the market size, on the market sales velocity, and why it's very important to order enough, because you don't want to run out of stock. If you run out of stock for a long period of time, that might hurt you to rank back again. Now, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to teach you some techniques that will help you with re-ranking again or getting your honeymoon period. It's going to work for some, it might not work for some, but I'm going to teach you everything you need. And if it's first offense or first time you do it, It's not going to be that issue. It's going to happen to all of us. It happens to me multiple times. Actually, by the time I'm recording this right now with you guys, one of my product, I just ran out of stock this morning, and I already have placed 1,000 units 4 weeks ago and still not in. So it's going to happen. And this product has been there for almost a year and a half. But it's going to happen. But let's keep that in mind to order enough. PPC advertising will be high at first, so allow for PPC cost. So PPC, I think something that you need to factor in. It's a part of your marketing, and you need to understand PPC, even that's true when you spend PPC, is going to be taken away from your the balance that you have in your Seller Central, but it's going to be a cost because in the beginning, your PPC cost is going to be higher because you're trying to push harder, you're trying to bid aggressively, and it's going to be higher than normal. It's going to be higher than if you progressed in your launch. They're going to see that your PPC goes very high in the beginning, and slowly as you go, as you rank more, as you have more reviews, your PPC the cost is going to go lower and lower. But in the beginning at launch stage is going to be expensive. So you need to factor that in. You cannot cheap in, you cannot cheap up. You cannot gonna say, oh, I'm gonna put $50. It might not work, but I'm going to show you the PPC launch strategy that I use at launch and how you be able to set them up and how you can optimize your ad reports to make sure that you benefit the most and you be able to save the most money possible. And also you need to keep in mind as a budget expectation of what's included in your budget is money to give away products and more if you're using a service like giveaway sites or ManyChat, search, find, and buy. In the beginning, I'm going to teach you how to be able to launch the products by using PPC, but also how you be able to integrate giveaway sites that we're going to use some giveaway sites like Rebate Key and other services that you will be able to give a product for free, and you will need to pay that upfront before you get the refund. And we're going to get into that more in details. And the same thing happens with ManyChat. When we do search, find, buy, most likely we are going to give the stuff for free in exchange for ranking power and making sure we're ranking. So you need to keep that in mind. And we're going to cover that into when we are calculating our first order and reordering. So it's really, really, really important. And I think a lot of people miss that point. A lot of people, they get the product, ship the product when it comes to time to marketing. And that's from experience, from hundreds of people that I taught, hundreds of people that I listened to. They always, when it comes to marketing, they stop. And that's where people mostly fail. Other thing, liability insurance, whether you need to do it or not, that's up to you. But by law, by TOS, by Amazon TOS or Amazon term of service, you need to have liability insurance for your product. Now, if you're selling something very, very dangerous, liability insurance is a must, especially if you're selling in the US. In the US, anybody sues anybody very easily. So liability insurance could be, it's important. And also having your LLC set up is very important as well. Amazon fees will also take some of your profits. So remember that you will not receive the full price of the sale. You need to follow the 33% rule of thumb. Now, when we make a sale, and let's say it's $100, you're not going to get the whole $100 in your account. You need to count for Amazon fees, pick and pack fees, their commission fee. All that going to count for a little bit of money. So instead of, I always take this 33% rule of thumb is not this is a general rule, but it could be more, it could be less. But usually that's what happens. If I sell a product for $100, I'm expecting the cost of the product sourcing from China, including shipping, including differentiation, including packaging, and everything that I do need to be around 33% of the $100 that I'm going to sell the product for. The second 33% is going to be your profit margin, is going to be the profit you're going to make. And the last 33% is going to be Amazon fees and commission. So 33% for Amazon, their commission, their fees, and by us using their platform. The second 33% is going to be your margin, your profit, and 33%, the other 33% is going to be the cost of product, including differentiation and everything. So that's how I think about it. So you need to calculate Amazon fees, and that could be very high for higher, larger, heavier products, and could be very cheap for a smaller product with lower weight. Now, also you need to count in Professional Seller Central. It's Seller Central itself. It costs $39 per month, $39.99 per month. You need this to run PPC, but it saves money. If you are serious about your business, you need this. I highly recommend, if anybody who starts their Amazon FBA business, they need a professional seller account. Do not do the regular one, do professional seller account, because this is going to give you advantages like running PPC, getting more units in. You don't have a limit of how many units you can sell. And also is going to give you a lot of advantages. It's going to help you with your business, like access to brand analytics, dashboard, and a lot of good customer service and everything that comes with it. So Professional Seller Central is very, very important, and that costs $40. So you need to calculate that in. Product research and keyword tools. So there's a lot of tools we're going to use, and highly recommend that you need to use a tool. Do not to use a free tool. I'm against it, because all the free tools usually, if they're not making money, they're not having enough packing, they don't have enough bone, they don't have enough team to be able to support the data and the tool itself, or whatever tool that you're using, or software. So I highly recommend that you use one of the top 3 out there. We have Helium 10, Jungle Scout, and Viral Launch. These are the really top ones that really have a team behind them, and they have good data. So you need to calculate for that, and each software is going to cost differently. If you're doing a product research, please, I ask you to use a software, even if you use it for 1 month and then let it go 1 month and cancel, it's okay. But you need to use one. Do not get the free one. You're putting money, you're putting $5,000, $10,000, you're putting a lot of savings, you're putting your retirement, you're putting whatever it is, the money that you're putting in. So it's a risk. So by eliminating the risk, by getting true data and good data, and if it costs you $50 to $100 a month, I will 100%, I will do it. For me, I recommend them. Accounting software. You need accounting software. You need to know your numbers, and that's very, very important. I think a lot of us, they just see the sales. Oh my God, look at the sales. I'm making, I don't know, $100,000 a month. But then later on, you find out that you're just making $5,000 in net profit. What's in your pocket, what you walk away with. And without having accounting software and understanding how much you make last month compared to this month, last quarter to this quarter, last year to this year, it's very important for you to gauge your business and have a line to see where you are at. Are you going higher? Are you going lower? So you'll be able to make the adjustment. So accounting software is very important. We use SellerBoard. SellerBoard is very cheap and not expensive. I think it's $20, and it's really, really important for you to factor that in. Product photography and photo editing, it's very, very important. I think a lot of people, there's people out there that teaches, hey, use your iPhone and take a picture of it and you're good to go. That's not gonna fly anymore. We're not 2010, we're not 2013, we are 2020 now, and you need to have a professional photos and editing, a photo editor. So if you get your photos, that can range from $250 to $450 as the lower end, and could go expensive from $800 to $1,000 to $1,200 for photos. And photo editing is easy. Anybody who has Photoshop experience, it can cost you $20 to $20 an image. So you need to factor that in. But I think with most of us, $250 to $400 for images, it's really a good start. But you know, more you elevate your game, more you elevate your brand, you need to elevate your photography and photos, and also video editing, like videos for your PPC, whether video for your listing is going to cost money and could be as low as $350 to $3,000. Okay, so this is really important and represent your brand. Now, I'm not telling you to go ahead and just, that means the most expensive is the best. No, you need to find the middle or find what you can afford, and then you can build on it. Web hosting and website development. So if you decided to go ahead and create your own website, whether using WordPress, whether using Wix, whether you're using Shopify, that's going to cost money. It's going to cost monthly payment, or it's going to cost you some hosting, which could be $7, $5, $10 per month. So you need to factor that in as well. And also the domain for your brand also is going to cost money. So you need to pay attention to these little things that they can add up very quickly. And also we have training, for example, like the course that you're taking right now. This course itself, it's cost money because for you to get the knowledge, for you to get the experience, for you to get the right guidance is going to cost money. So training is very important, whether you're doing training for a private label, whether you're getting more advanced training into other fields or whatever you're doing, Facebook ads, for example, or you're doing, I don't know, Shopify or anything like that. Training is going to cost money, but it's going to cut your time of learning. And it's really important. For me, if every time I want to learn something new, I go ahead and get training from someone that I trust or someone that been referred to me. That's really important. It's going to cost money. Investing in yourself is the biggest thing you need to do. Investing in yourself, investing in your knowledge, that's going to help you down the road. Do not be a sheep. Do not follow other people just to follow them. And do not say, hey, I can find it all by myself. Yes, you can, but the time is very, very important. So training, it's really important as long as you can trust the people. Now, the last not least is actually influencers or micro influencers. Now, micro influencers, that's something, if needed, it's something that you can use by hiring influencers to be able to get you more traffic to your own listing. By hiring influencers is going to cost money. It's going to cost you some products. So you need to factor that in if you want to go that route. So these are the main points or budgets or cost of things that you need to calculate in your budget and what to expect. So these are all of them. We covered them. And I hope that was really helpful for you guys. Now it's break time until the next video, which is we will be covering the criteria of a good product and everything else.